If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be, I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be, I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be, I think I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me, me, me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. 'Cause nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. 'Cause nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be, I think I'm gonna be me.
What up, Wednesday? I'm Keely Dunn of FH Umpires, and you're the third team, and I'm delighted that you're here. I'm very happy to see folks like Sahab. Thank you for joining in. Very nice of you to stop by. And Taco's here. And Samantha, do you know how I know I'm supposed to get you the name, right? I'm supposed to, it's coming. It's coming. But also, I've been thinking about changing things up, and I can't because I just really like that song, and I want to hear it before I stream. So I'm just saying I'm doing everything wrong. I'm supposed to pat and interrupt and not have intros and all that stuff, and I just have to do it. I am really glad you're here. We are gonna finish that Pro League-ish today. This is it. I am not doing another Pro League clip for at least 4 months. I'm putting my foot down. You can't make me. I know what's going to happen, though. I know what's going to happen because it's happening on the Instagrams, and this will tie into the other little thing I want to say before we get into the topics. That it's been a week on the Instagrams. I did a thing. I channeled my inner millennial, and it was after the Wednesday show. It was like Thursday, and I still had good hair, and I had my lashes on. And I was feeling a little like I was feeling a certain way. I had all this emotional energy built up after that Wednesday show. And I was like anxious, and I just wanted to do something. And I had all these reels that were sort of stacked up that I was going to try to use in today's stream. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna do reaction reels. How do you do these things? So I got my phone, and I'm like, oh, you press the camera button. Oh, okay. And they just sort of happened, and they did really well. And I'm not a numbers person, but it was one of those things that it's like, okay, I got good feedback from this. And so today we're gonna go through a few of those topics because they were Pro League, but they were special Pro League. They were old Pro League. And talk about those whole Instagram phenomena things a little bit in terms of how we learn about umpiring, because it's not so clean cut. It's not just It's not just what's happening. It's how we interpret what we're seeing. So I am going to talk about that later. But in addition, all the aerials, we have so many aerial scenarios to talk about. Surprise. PC danger, playing the ball with the body, stick block or not, intentional obstruction or a missed tackle, a stick obstruction along the back line, and what is a push? And then no more Pro League. Just, you can't make me. You just, 144 games, friends. 144. And I didn't watch every single one of them. It's just not possible. But I think I watched 100 and I probably watched 110 of them. I'll have to go back and check my records. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. And I'm getting votes for the keep. Oh, I know, right? It's damn it. Damn all you persuasive people who like this song. Okay, we'll see how it goes. We have several shows to go until the big O happens, the big Olympics in Paris. It's going to be a whole thing. If you remember last year, remember last Olympics, which was 3 years ago. Hi, time. Okay. I can't do these live streams on YouTube. Just FYI, because there's this thing called the IOC. So the FIH doesn't own the rights to their own content during the Olympics. It's nuts. It's just crazy. So the first time I tried to do a live stream during the Olympics and talking about the clips, and I had a plan to do daily live streams, I was like 20 minutes in and it just went boom. Everything just shut down. Copyright takedown, halt sort of notice. And so what I did is I went into the Discord and I did that whole thing. I did the daily live streams in there. So if you're not a member of the Discord between now and July 27th, please just go join. You have to get in there because that's the only place that I can do my thing and I can do the thing the way that I like to do the thing with examples and being able to work through the video fastidiously, perhaps slightly obsessively. And I want you to be there. I want you to be there for the whole thing. So there you go. FIHumpires.com/DS. I had something more to say about the Olympics and all those things, but whatever. Let's get into the topic, shall we? All the aerials. Okay, here we go. This one I'm going to save until What Up Wednesday next week because it's tricky. There are a lot of elements to consider. There is nothing like seeing yourself on the screen when you're already on the screen. Like, this is the worst. But this was one of the reels that I reacted to. And the first thing that I want to say is, can I please have an award? Because all we have is this picture. And I want you to look. Okay, you can tell that this is definitely Netherlands. And if you can recognize Vincent Van Asch, then you're like, okay, that's Belgium and the Candrium. Okay, so it's Netherlands versus Belgium. But when you go to the two games from the Pro League this year that the two of them played each other, because every Pro League they play each other twice, and that's it for the whole season, they didn't wear these uniform configurations, and they weren't in Antwerp when they played each other. So this was not this season. This was last season. So this came from July last year. And I freaking found the clip. You know why? Because I took the notes and I had it there and I had the timestamp, and all I had to do was go back in the TMS and find the date that they played and then look that up in my system, and there was the note, and and I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud. Because this isn't easy. This isn't easy. Anyway, I'm replaying this not because I want to look at myself, but because I want you to see what the reel looked like. So they showed a vertical that was chopped. So it's not a full 60 by 9. It's I don't know, 4:3 probably ratio. And then they show the replay in full 9:16 vertical. And somehow that's going to be enough. It's not. It's not going to be enough. When I watched this, I couldn't tell what exactly was happening. And if any of you were on the Instagrams and you're like, I know exactly, this is a 5-meter infringement and everything's wrong and it's a penalty stroke and it's this and it's that. Friends, reality dose for you. If you haven't been like me and made a shit ton of mistakes watching the first angle or the first perspective on a play, and then you see the next one and the next one, and you go, oh, I was really wrong the first time I made a judgment about that. If you haven't been there, you're there right now. I've been there a lot of times. And I think what I've tried to develop is at least a hesitation, but an understanding that we don't know what we don't know. We can't see what we can't see. And you can't see shit in this. You can't. So that was the reel. This is the video.
It's gone against him. There's the aerial. There's the control. What a blow that is from that man is Stockbrooks, but it's...
Yeah, ball coming into the circle, so the attacker has always got the advantage. Stockbrooks has to give 5 yards and before he can step in, but he stepped in there too quickly, and a fairly clear decision there for Sarah.
So a lot of people responded to this clip and said, absolutely, it's an easy 5-meter infringement on the reception and penalty corner all the way, all that kind of thing. And my answer to that is, well, maybe. Now, what I want to provide with the context of this, because I want to have a fulsome discussion about this particular decision, aerials into the D received by attackers. This is a very specific play, so specific and so complex still that did a whole live stream in January about this with David Ames, GB captain, and just all around amazing hockey badger. Like he's a nerd amongst nerds. He's one of us. He just happens to wield a stick, but he'd make a really, really good umpire. Him and Bernardo Fernandez, who stepped in for Xavier Reckoner, who was going to also be the guest. I'm not going to lie, I was a bit shit and bricks about meeting him because he's kind of intimidating and all that kind of thing. But anyway, us and Ernst Bart hosted and facilitated the conversation, and we did a whole live stream. It was like an hour and 30 minutes probably, which is, as we call it, average. But for everybody else in the whole coaching world was an extremely long live stream. Just about aerials into the D. So I'll make sure to put that link in the description again, or up here or something like that. And so that's 6 months ago. And what we were commenting on was everything that we had seen and what we were starting to see evolving out of aerials into the D from the Women's World Cup and the Men's World Cup that had just happened in November and December. And so we've got timeline here. I should have done a graphic. July of 2023, this play right here, which seems cut and dry. Then we have Women's World Cup. We have Men's World Cup. We have the absolutely earth-shattering live stream from January. We then have Olympic qualifiers in January and a little bit into February. We have more Pro League. In 1 year, our understanding of this rule has evolved. And so what I want to sort of tease out for everybody with this is that it's really important for us, first of all, to stay up to date. But also when we look at plays on the internet, we often don't know when they happened because they're not adding, they're not adding any information. They're just like, what do you think the call is? or saying, dope tackle, and none of the context that you need. And so what was the correct decision 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago may not be the correct decision today because of how we are evolving our understanding of this particular reception. And yeah, that was a lot of words. I'm still going. Okay. And what I'm starting to realize, I had a great conversation with a very important, respected, somebody I respect a lot yesterday, who triggered a thought because we were having a discussion about this particular issue and these 5-meter infringement decisions. And we also were talking about the raised hit, the intentionally raised hit from midair, which we've been seeing all. And my conversationalist colleague and I agreed that there's a real problem with us not calling that because the rule is clear. But there's also a very, hockey gut reason not to. But all of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute, the reason that aerials into the D to an attacker who is receiving with one touch, why that should be deemed control is because they can raise a hit out of midair as a shot on goal. The rules specifically allow them to do that, subject to danger, of course. You can't do that as a receiver of an aerial ball anywhere else on the field. Technically speaking, you can't. Which means that the way that you're going to play that and what control means anywhere else on the pitch is different, because control to pass the ball, to then corral it and make a maneuver and try to beat somebody or make a spin and pass it back or do something else with the ball is very different. That control is very different from a hockey player's perspective than the control you need to thwap the ball out of midair on to goal. Huge difference. So that means that we're applying the same rule, but control is a very different concept. I finally figured it out. This has been bugging me for months. Really excited about that. So there we go. So if we're looking at this particular situation with 2024, July 2024 lens, going into the Paris Olympics after all we've seen in the last few competitions, and oh, by the way, really strong suspicion that there is going to be a change in this after the Olympics. They really can't change the rules before. Sometimes there's a little tweaks, sometimes there's a little bit, and the briefing came out to tweak a couple things, but they're not going to hugely change rules before a major event. They do it right after to give all the teams a maximum amount of time to learn, to synthesize, to create new strategies, to poke holes in it, show us why we got it wrong in the first place, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying this because I'm creating something new. This is based on everything I've observed. It's come from conversations with top players around the world, with top coaches, with top umpires who are on the pitch making these calls and not liking calling these penalty corners, generally speaking. So let's see. Let me get to some comments now that I've been talking for 20 minutes straight. And let's see. So Anik is asking, would I vote now for play on, for example, a 23-meter restart? So it's hard to see exactly. There might have been the ball may have actually gone off the attacker's body there. Just the angle of the ball seems to change a little bit, but we don't really have fantastic angles. Let me just, see, we're not quite seeing whether it went off that foot there, because the ball does change direction in sort of a weird way, right? I got to move this. This is bugging me. Okay. So it could have been a free hit defense. It could have been a 23-meter restart. But for me, under today's definitions and what I've been seeing, probably 90% of the time when umpires are dealing with the situation right now on the pitch at this level where they are thwapping the ball out of midair on a goal, that would be basically a play on. Okay. So, yeah, at the time, very clearly, it was the decision. And lots of things have evolved as, let's see, as Scott has pointed out here, the fact that our sport is evolving and does change to try to stay up to date with skills is one particular thing that makes it amazing. I know there's a lot of people out there who get frustrated with hockey if they're not maybe as Badger-like as we are. They see the changing of the rules as being an obstacle, a challenge, a drawback. And they're mad that they can't keep up. They're like, we used to play on grass and it was really great. You know, and we would have our AM radios by the side of the grass field and, it, roll-ins and all that kind of stuff. Come on, man. This is the fact that our game can change like this to allow amazing stuff to happen, amazing exhibitions of skill that then start to filter down to all of the levels. So kids are starting to develop these skills, and older players who have just picked up the stick for the first time when they're 45 years old, they're starting to develop. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. It drives my soul. It's so great. And the evolution and sometimes the rapid pace of change, we can't foresee it. We can't possibly foresee it. We just get to be swept up in this tidal wave that is driven by the players. They are driving this bus, and we're just like singing the wheels on the bus go round and round in the back, and jumping up and down and bumping and having a good time. We're along for that ride and just trying to make it as enjoyable for the drivers as possible. Yurian, what's the original reason for giving the receiver the opportunity to receive and control the ball? As in this clip, it feels too advantageous to the attacker. Yurian, back in the day, like, I don't know, 6 years ago, you weren't receiving aerials into the circle like this. It just wasn't a play. It was considered it was being used tactically much more to outlet the ball from the backfield. And were there not times that you couldn't even aerial? I mean, you still can't aerial the free hit into the D because from inside the 23, because then you're going straight to the D and things like that. But there have the holy smokes. Somebody help me out. Come on, rules nerds. I'm pretty sure that this was part of the overall relaxation of aerial in the air skills, 3D skills, progressing the game. And suddenly this was a thing that players are like, oh, you know what? If we go to an attacker inside the circle, they're going to get 5 meters. That's dope because that means we can, and the skill of these players to receive from all kinds of angles over their heads and bloop, and then for smacka. I'm sure that's what they call it. That's the technical term. To shoot on goal from the volley out of midair. It's something that's been evolving. It's been a growing skill recently, but it wasn't even contemplated when this rule was put in place. And this rule was put in place a long time ago. Let's see. Ingrid, you're on board with the controlled. Keith, as a second touch is a shot, the ball is as controlled as it needs to be. Yes. Forget on the ground. Yeah. So fine to defend. Yeah. And we just on the ground, like, come on. We are so over on the ground hockey. That is so 2003, really. Suspect the defender was about 5 meters at first touch. Yes, I agree. And this was the consensus that David and Bernardo and Ernst and myself all came to in January. And this, and I wasn't sure where this was all going. I didn't have a firm like, oh, I absolutely know how we should be interpreting this. I was just like, I think this is what we're doing. Like, why don't you tell me what you guys think? And then we all agreed on the same thing. And it was like, like this heavens opened up and just something beautiful happened. And there were kittens and rainbows and unicorns and stuff. And that doesn't happen very often in the hockey world. So I think we did something right there. NEDvGER, don't you think the attacker has the ball under control when he's able to take a shot on goal? Yeah. Correct. Correct, sir. Correct. Come in, Martin, your time is, I don't know. That must be a New Zealand reference. I don't know. Taco. Okay. So if I understand you correctly, because the receiver can take a shot of goal from the air, the first ball contact negates the need to stay away by the defender and elsewhere to still a foul. I believe so, yes. Under how we interpret control. Yes. Arrows exploded when we were able to receive above our heads. Keith, that's good. I like that. I think you're right. That's amazing. I was tagging along for the ride. It was really great. Okay. So that brings me.
Quickly.
I'll go to the poll. I'll go to polls later.
Hits, and that's come all the way through to about what a touch.
This just happened a few days ago.
Barry not giving the
poor overhead style, but it skips through. Yeah.
Mace, love it. For me, I was like, no. So it's not easy when the interpretations are changing quickly for anybody to keep up. And so there's going to be outside cases. And I had some people asking me about this one. And I wanted to bring this one up because there's another added layer that I think is nice to sort of consider and put on top of this, is that it's actually the defender who is the initial receiver here. But he just misses it. He just misses it. So when we look at when the ball can be contested, when is the aerial over, it might not be at this moment. And so I have another clip in a second. This is all going to tie in as a story. It's really beautiful. But even though the ball isn't coming to the Dutch attacker at a very immense height, it's coming at such a trajectory that it's a little bit kind of challenging. So I would still say that as a matter of principle, the aerial rules still kind of like they still apply. We're still thinking about aerial rules. It doesn't mean that this player doesn't have control once they receive it. And the important thing is that the attacker, who is not the initial receiver, has to be 5 meters away from the ball. Or there's an infringement. But you could argue, okay, there's an infringement, but it doesn't actually disadvantage the defender. He should have the skill to take this ball down. And there's no disadvantage there. Totally fair point. I want to lead you through all the steps that you would go through with this. Who's the initial receiver? Defender. Is he given 5 meters? Yes. To the extent that any advantage would apply. And that means that he's 5 meters away, pretty close, unless he's very quickly closed. Oh, I almost spilled my mate all over my lap here. That would have been a real issue. So unless he's closed very quickly, but you can see he kind of pauses in slow-mo. He kind of turns and is like, oh crap, gone to that guy. Better make it close. Better attempt a dispossession. And for me, he's 5 meters away at the moment of that first touch. Excuse me. So this is a play on situation. Now, there could be an obstruction by one of the two players. And if we kind of slow it down and have a look at this, I actually think, if anything, we have an interesting next layer challenge about what happens with this ball But I think the defender makes a clean contact with this. So hang on. Let's just, oops. I got to control the right thing. If I don't actually control what you're seeing, I'm not going to make my point very well. So as you can see right here in this moment, the defender's stick is low. It's at the height of the ball, and I believe he makes slight contact with it. That slight contact changes where the ball is occupying space, such that when the attempted shot comes, he then actually misses the ball and clips the defender's stick, making it actually an obstruction by the attacker on that. What do y'all think? I want to hear some thoughts and that sort of thing. And so, Stain, you're saying on this next clip that it's no longer an aerial situation in very large print. It's no longer an aerial situation. I kind of get that, but I also think because of the pace of the ball, you still need to apply that. It still could be, you know, receiving it at that kind of pace at chest height at this level of skill still requires aerial rules to apply. If it were lower than that, if it was more like knee up to the hip, up to the upper leg, then I could see that point. But I like that you're thinking about that. That's, you know, good to work through. Same as the last time for you, Keith. Yeah. And it is very similar. It's these aerials coming from the right half, coming across and dropping to a left attacker in the far side of the circle. These are a bit challenging for us in terms of positioning. If you are wide, if you are out there because you're a European J hooker and you haven't changed, you're still doing old school positioning, you are going to be so effed in this moment. You really have to consider, how do I get to my happy place before this ball is even launched? Because you don't want to be looking at the launch. You want to be looking at the receiving area. Where is this ball going to be potentially received? Who is the initial receiver? Who is 5 meters away? You have to be prepping your decisions before the ball gets there. Ingrid, by the way, hi. I don't know if we really said hi before, but hi. Technically, hey, as the ball hits the ground, so yes, next phase. Right. You like my reason, hadn't got there as quickly though. Girl, I appreciate you saying that I got there quickly, but pardon me, remember, I didn't just see this in the watch party. I then edited the video, which means I probably watched it through about 10 times when I was editing the video. And then I put it in the Ecamm Live software, which then allowed me to see it a bunch more times. And so I've seen it a lot. And I've been thinking and obsessing about these things for quite a while. So there you go. And yeah, the umpire has a good view. I think he's a little bit outside. You know, he could have been a little bit closer to. And why is this paused? Because I paused it? Okay. Sorry. So you see how he's backing up and he's not at that 10-meter mark. I would have liked to see him at the 5 meter. Okay. That's much more happy place positioning for me. And it's because he tends to be a wider umpire. That's where it goes. So his positioning is okay. It's not, it could be quite a bit better. Is my happy place the hot spot? Asks Ingrid. I don't know. What's the hot spot? So the happy place is a region for me that's around that 5 meter mark. Could be inside, like ahead of the back line, could be behind the back line. It's just sort of a region there that you get there, and from there you should be able to, with small adjustments, see everything that you need to from over in that corner all the way around you, like a fan. The play just fans out around you. And it's the best place to be because you are in the most optimally proximate place to see goal decisions. The biggest decisions, you are in the right place to see them. So For you, this one-touch whacking a goal becomes a high risk and high reward situation. Agree the defender got the touch, the attacker missed it. Yeah. I don't think it's like we don't have to put the high risk, high reward sort of thing on it. It is an exercise of skill because we want to keep that language, I think, quite applied to defensive breakdowns. When you aren't the team in possession of the ball and you do something that is risky as to whether you're going to foul the other player and deprive them of possession of the ball, that's not what happens here because the attacker is in possession of the ball. Does that make sense? That's going to come into play in a clip that we're going to show a little bit later, and it's a really important concept. Mr. Dyerberg, you'd have gone with free hit defense for the reason you're happy with the initial distance and then the defender's stick movement. Yeah, there you go. Oh, hot spot by the post of goal to 5-meter box square. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I just like happy place because we all need a little more happiness in our lives as umpires, don't you think? Okay, let's go to the poll because these two sort of go together. I have a gift in my inventory. Thank you, Discord. It's always gaming stuff, and I don't game. Girl don't have time to game. Did anybody vote? Nobody voted? Wait, 6. Let's go back. Come on. People vote in this stuff. There we go. Play on for 80% of you. Field hit, free hit defense for stick obstruction for the other 20%, which means 100% of you agree. Okay. And that was on the first one. And then this is the Netherlands, Germany that we just watched. And we've got 60% of you play on and 40% of free hit defense. Yeah, so we're unanimous there too, really. Thank you, everybody. Great work.
Their press is actually working quite effectively so far, but I think it's for GB now to recognise.
Chance here for Ward, Shipley, and a penalty stroke as Danberg takes out the Welshman. It was a really good aerial ball, good advantage for NEDvGER because you could have easily blown up for the retreating defender in the Sam Ward space. Samford with it.
That's a huge aerial from Samford, so effective, and even that take from Sam Ward, he made that look easy. That's not easy to do when you've got a player standing in front of you, and Rupert Shipley there just using his body so well. Get his body in between the ball and the goalkeeper.
Right. So I wanted to show this one in the aerial section because this is a situation where we have a phase 1 infringement by those definitions. Don't love them. Don't love the whole, well, I don't mind breaking into the 2 phases. I just don't like what the briefing says about phase 2. That aside, hi. This is a phase 1 5-meter infringement, because the ball has not been received by the initial receiver yet, and the 5 meters is being infringed upon. And it's done so in a way that the defender knows. The defender knows where the attacker is, and reckless as to the result doesn't even quite cover how much knowledge would have gone into this particular 5-meter infringement. So what I wanted to show was really the fantastic advantage that is played through this. And there is a tension here between wanting to call things quickly because of safety concerns, which at many levels you would probably do. Many times you would say, oh my God, somebody could die here. I'm just going to call it really quickly. But if you can see the angles at which this is all occurring, understanding that a free hit for the attack, or even that penalty corner that's coming along, that free hit for the attack outside the circle is the worst free hit in hockey. Nobody wants it. Just don't. Just try to get them into the circle because something better may happen. So yes, a penalty corner could have been the outcome if Vanria called it very quickly. But she can see the potential for a better scoring opportunity evolving because of who's on the ball, because of where there's another GB attacker behind the defense in a very threatening position. So when you have that big scope and you can see all things, you can anticipate, oh, if this just comes through, this might be a quick you know, pass through to Shipperley and boom, we've got ourselves a goal. Bang, beautiful, right? Fewer whistles for Vanry to blow. She's practical. She knows that that is a great route. So I wanted you to see that as an example of when an advantage can really work out well. And it ends up being a better result for the attacking team. So you don't go back to the penalty corner for the intentional foul outside the circle. You go with the better result inside the circle. And if we keep focusing on that, it's going to make a lot of our advantage to next decisions easier to make. Okay. And absolutely. So Ingrid, I would even specify, I would make it very clear that she's not just putting her hand up for play on, she is putting her hand up for advantage. So we talk sometimes about being precise about our use of language when we are either playing on because nothing is there, which could be a waving it on like this, could be two hands up in the air like you just don't care, or you could be in some situations pointing at the ball. There it is. It's right there. And you're just following the ball with your finger. It's cute. It's hot. Don't overuse it. Okay. Can throw people off. Can look a little, you know, a little squee if you do too much. But that, as opposed to arm up in the advantage position, that is very clear that there is something happening that you are deciding to play through. And that's not just a play on, that is an advantage. Okay. And that helps everybody recognize. So if that hadn't turned out into a penalty stroke, and let's say the GB player had, Shipperley had taken that off his body and it would have been a free hit defense. And if the team had then come back with a video referral saying, we want the penalty corner for the intentional infringement outside, it's very clear on the video that Vanry's got her arm up for advantage and she's playing that. And when the instruction goes up to the video umpire, she'll be saying, I saw it, I played advantage. So that's different than just playing on. Okay. Awesome. So don't look at the attacker's foul number 13 red. So you think there was an attacker's foul. I think it's the other way. So you think there's a body obstruction or an interference as 13's going through. I don't think so. I think it's the other way around. But I see what you're saying there. Okay. And Samantha saying Vanry is brilliant with these types of decisions. Yes, she is. FHU 3 team member. Very proud of her. She had a great great Netherlands leg of the tournament. Did very, very well. And her preparation for Tokyo was going very well. So let's just check in with the polls here and see what everybody said. Survey says penalty stroke, intentional foul inside. 6 of you. And 1 of you wanted the penalty corner outside. Okay. Well, I think we've gotten to a new place. We've gotten to a new understanding, all of us together. So congratulations. Okay, let's do it this way. I have a broken. I have a broken. Nope. Hold, please. So that part worked. Okay, so it's just this. Locate file. D.
Control. If you stop that dead, had that chance to spin in. Kaufman up against Draper.
So this ties into what we were talking about earlier about the aerial ball when it is over, and it's in a great place for the players at the whatever skill levels in front of you to safely contest the ball. And that's what we have exactly in the situation here. So, oh, this is fun. I don't know what's happening here. we're in a quiz scene that's gone a little bit confusing. There we go. Okay. Saves the day. So here we have a ball that is going into a relatively unoccupied space, but you can argue that yes, the attacker in white is the initial receiver here, and that 5-ish is initially given. We have a truncated angle that makes it a little difficult to see that, but at the level that the ball is then bouncing, these players at this level can safely contest, and they can keep going. So it's coming down at that point, which is sort of something that when people say, well, what height does the ball have to be at and for the aerial to be over? Well, after the first bounce, it bounces quite high. You know, if our angles are right, it looks like it could be around overhead height there. But when the ball is being received, it's being received down at the knees. So there isn't an absolute height of the ball that then nullifies aerial rules. It all has to do with the angles of where the player is receiving, what trajectory and speed is the ball coming at, where is it being taken in terms of its pathway. All those sort of things come into the equation. Danger is hard, but in this case, a nice sort of play on. And there is a poll, but I'll go take a look at it in a second because you probably haven't had a chance to look at it before I go on to the last. And oh, I hope this works. It did.
Oh, the first touch, if that goes to the right. Yeah, he's pushed it in towards, again, it's similar to the decision in the first half.
Yep.
Yep. So initial receiver, given 5 meters, but plays it forward. So whether we call this a mishandle or whether it was a specific action by that player because he's dying to get in on goal. He's like, I want to go forward, so I'm going to touch that ball forward. Does the player who is attempting to close then have to respect where the ball is being played as well as the initial 5 meters, which would then give him like 10 meters of space? See where he's receiving it is well outside the 5 meter dot. It's probably 1 meter inside the 23. So let's say at the 22. And then by the time he's closing, he is probably at the 13 meter mark. So that's almost 10 meters. So when you look at the distances from a static point of view, you can say, well, he's within 5 meters of the initial receiver, but he's not there until after the ball has been played and the ball gets played forward. So for me, that is a nice, clear play on situation. But maybe you feel differently. I'm here. You can't see the whole link, so you can't join it. You can't see the whole link, so you can't join it. Let me see if that is all working. It should work. If you, yeah, even if you can't see it, it's truncated, but the link is still live. I just clicked on one. There might have been a link that was a fail in there. And if there was, sorry. Your girl's working on it. I'm just saying. Okay. So that wraps up sort of everything that was about aerials. And I think we do aerials, I don't know, every show, pretty much. It is a very, I mean, it's a hot topic. It's a hot button topic. And I know that the skill levels that these players are executing is not what we're seeing on a regular basis. That's not the point. It's how we can distill the principles out and then apply them at lower levels of skill. So it's important to be able to study these, see how it's happening, go through the arguments, go through the principles, and then start thinking about, right, so when I'm on the pitch and this player is doing this thing and I've seen it this way, this is how I'm going to handle it. This is how I'm going to proactively communicate who an initial receiver is. This is how I'm going to apply the 5 meters. All that thing. Taka, why did Kuhn call it, is it for the Belgian player after the initial receipt? Because there was a stick obstruction. this is the wrong one, but let's see if I can get to the right scene. 1E replay. There we go. So you can see how Vortenberger, I'm going to say his name wrong, the Dutch defender comes through and takes the ball, and then Venier swings a stick in. There's a stick obstruction there. Dangerous use of the stick, even, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's where that happened, which means I should go to the poll and see if anybody picked up on that. Let's see, play on for 75% of you, and then a free hit defense, a couple of you picked that up. But either way, that's not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is to see how the ball is being moved on the reception. So very good. Okay. Thank you, friends. Weirdly enough, I don't have any flowers, and Anik, talk about you next week, okay? Because you snuck in, but after like my cutoff point for changing things for the live show. So we will fet you next week. So you better send me a nice photo that I can use. So that means for this segment, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the season training plan, which launched on Monday. And there are a few people who are already off to the races. Simon Milford, I know you're not here. You told me you were going to be replay squad. Thank you so much for posting your progress with all of this. And what is really useful for us is that, you know, Simon's talked about, oh, well, I don't have access to this piece of equipment, so I did this thing. And William Ewis has also posted saying, look, I'm doing this marathon and these are the runs that I need to do. How can I modify the season training plan to fit in around the marathon training that I'm trying to do? And Austin's like, gotcha. And he's looking after all that. So this is why, first of all, when you're part of this program, you are a part of the development of it as well. This is a beta, and I'm really happy that people who are already involved are taking advantage of that and feeding back so that we can make sure that this works as best it can. If you haven't joined up and you're like, oh, well, it's not July 1st anymore, and I can't possibly. It's already 11 and I don't know, 2/3 weeks. It's only 11 and 2/3 weeks, and I need a full 12 weeks to prepare. Have you ever prepared for 12 weeks for your season? Come on. Join now, and we will give you, for the next sort of 3 weeks, Austin and I talked about it, and his advice was he thinks that 3 weeks to sort of catch up and get back involved is the right sort of buffer time and the right catch-up time, I guess is the accurate way to say it. So you can join now and have a look at it. If you're interested in having your most fit, your strongest, your most injury resilient season ever, then you want to get on board with the season training program. If you have any questions about it, then come into the Discord and ask. And Ingrid, if you're having problems with Discord, there are lots of really cool folk, moderators who can help you now, or I can help you after the show. But I can't help you now because your girl's busy. This is hard. This is really hard. And let's say, do I have? I don't really have one for the Discord, but yeah, there we go. That's what we're doing. Season training plan. Get on board. It's very exciting. Just saying. It's exciting. Okay, topic 2. Also from the world of the Instagrams. Penalty or danger, or okay, what do we have here? Shot, deflection, ball goes up, and what the yeah.
What a ball.
I loved it. This is the full play. Okay.
And that's with the effort. Up into danger. Brian lets it hit himself on the chest. And it's given against him. He was doing it to prove danger, I think, there. He was up off the Argentinian player. But no one near him, and I assume that's why Federico
okay. So that clip got posted on the Instagrams. And then I had to go down quite the rabbit hole in order to find the original. Because again, with a narrow vertical angle on this, we're not seeing the whole thing. We're not seeing the full context. And as much as we like to pretend that, you know, all we have to see are the two players who are involved and that's going to give us all the information we need, absolutely not. We need to be able to see all the markers in order to see distances and pace. And if the replay is being posted in slow motion, for example, we need to see it in real time, the whole shebang. So another cookie comes to me for being able to find this play, because this wasn't easy, but this was actually the third match of the Pro League in December in Argentina. I picked it all up from the billboards, from the Instagram, and looked at the uniforms, and I was like, okay, this is Argentina playing Netherlands, 2 games in Argentina. Which one was it? And then I was like, okay, and it happened in that end, so it has to be in this half. And because I hadn't taken a note on this, because actually I don't think I had watched this game live for some reason. And oh my God, Tom, you are not wrong. The way that the coaching staff is shouting for a video referral for this, oh my God, I would have paid money. I would pay money for that to go to video referral so that the video umpire can just have. What was that guy's face? You could just like splice that meme over top of the video umpire going. So good. So there was discussion. There were some people who thought that this should be a penalty corner. There was one particular very high-level player who rightly pointed out that I am not a former high-level player, and used that as an argument as to why I couldn't possibly know what the correct decision is in this case, which is a fantastic argument. I absolutely love that. Very, very spot on, because how could somebody who hasn't played at the top levels of the game understand the rules of hockey, even if she is umpired at the top levels of the game? Who knows? Who knows? Just throwing it out there. But I love that Fede didn't give the penalty corner in this situation, because what you can see after we've just watched aerials into the D, that's why this clip is so good at this point. Players at this level can handle that ball. They have the skill. They know what to do with it. He probably could have one-timed it. I mean, if he was as good as, you know, Zach Wallace, maybe. I don't know. If you guys haven't seen that goal that he scored, what's his club that he plays for in he plays for BELvNED, doesn't he? Just an absolute worldie of a goal. I don't even know what world he is, but I just used the term. And we know that the skill exists, and he was probably praying, let it rain, falls on me, and then stepped to help it along. Samantha, this is the point at which I have to just shut my mouth, because at tease I will have jokes. And Scott, this is the point. There was definitely there wasn't even illegitimate evasive action. There was no evasive action. He was not disadvantaged in any way. He simply deliberately let the ball hit him, even though he had all of that. Even the teammates were surprised. What do you mean? Like, well, I mean, a few of them, you know, made the argument, and then we're kind of like, oh, okay, should we, you know, Terrence Peters is like, should we appeal this? But a lot of them are walking away. Tom, so for this, the shot on goal before this, dangerous, yes or no? You can't see if there's a defender touch. I don't know. Why you keep bringing up old stuff? That's at least 3 microseconds before. Why are we? milliseconds. You want me to? Okay, I'll look to see the shot, maybe. Yeah, it deflects off an Argentinian stick. So it's not a shot at goal. But there you go. Dan Bosch, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. I totally forgot because that was at least 4 months ago. And how can I possibly remember? All the walls. Nice to see you. Drive by. Okay. We'll see you later. Comment, please. There's so much that could have been done. So when you see the full angle of it and you see it from a wider view, I think you have a better appreciation of just how little danger this player was in. And there must be legitimate evasive action that happens for this. Even like just the Argentinian player just stands there and gives him 5 meters, which he doesn't have to do. He could come and contest, but do so in a way that's safe. So this is something that I keep having to clarify over and over again. The aerial ball rules for 5 meters apply to aerial balls, which are intentionally raised passes, flicks or scoops, going to a player. This is an accidental deflection. Danger is the only rule that applies here. Now, if the Argentinian defender had run at the Dutch attacker as the ball was dropping, the Dutch defender would have been causing danger and penalty corner would have been the right decision. But the defender is smart. He doesn't do that. He makes sure he doesn't cause the danger and leaves it to the Dutch attacker to do what he's going to do, which is what he did. The thing he did there was the thing that he did. It's crazy. So he's not required to give him 5 meters of space, but he hangs back to make sure it's safe, to basically make sure he's not going to give up the penalty corner and then try to, execute a defensive action after that. So there you go. If only we were all Zach Wallace. Like, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Okay, let's see what you have to say in the polls. I don't have any music playing and I miss it. Unanimous 100,000 million% of you of 7 folks say that the free hit defense was correct. And I'm just so appreciative of Fede being a boss and just no. Fede I've been with at tournaments and I've worked with and he's fabulous and definitely nailed that call. So awesome. But that is the Instagrams. Let's talk some more about the Instagrams. By the way, did anybody get my joke about the brought to you by the letters I and G? Okay, this is on mute because it's got music that'll get me taken down on YouTube. So this is Callum from Stickwise. My friend Callum, we're buddies. Am I dropping names? Absolutely. The last time he put up an Instagram reel with a question, and what he did is he demonstrated some penalty stroke options some months ago, and he said, "Is this legal? Yes or no?" And I was like, "Callum, look, next time you do this, I know you have 75K followers, and I only have like 4.5, but tag me. Like, let's do a collab, and you can have all of my super badgery rules dork umpires getting in there and giving their feedback, as well as all of your folk. And it will be a beautiful merging of 2 disparate audiences. How about we do that?" And he said, "Sure." And so what does he do? Like, after my live stream last week, which was a little bit of a thing, and I'm all emotional and stuff, he puts this out, and I'm like, I'm not prepared for this. I'm in my feelings right now. So, but I appreciated that he did it vastly. So I reposted it. We had a bunch more engagement, and then I put up my reply, which I'm not going to put here, but I will talk about now. So I'm interested in knowing if any of you want to chime in on this. Tom, I'll come back to your question later. Because that is interesting, but it'll get me completely squirreling out and not like that. So here we are. Is there a stick block in here? Type yes or no. And I very tongue-in-cheek, because I don't believe in this initialism. WWKD. It's silly. But I typed it because I was in a way, and I was like, WWKD. And I hope at this point, now that we've seen 2 Instagram vertical reels, that you know what I'm going to say now. Which is what? Okay, say it with me. A narrow vertical view of a play, which is also shown only in slow motion and from an angle at which it's impossible to determine what direction all the players are going and which, who's going to the goal and who's going where. I mean, we see the top of the circle because we can see a shot at goal. We can see 5 meters, the 5 meter dotted line, but we don't really know where everything is. We don't know who beats whom. It's just all confusing. The answer can only be maybe. And if you went on Instagram and you proclaimed absolutely yes or no, that is, neither of those answers are correct. Neither of those answers are correct. Somebody in the comments actually tagged the dude who's the ball carrier and said, put him out of their misery. And I'm like, yes, please, just, say something to add fuel to the fire. Not that I trust an attacker to, admit that they've committed a stick shield or not. But the only answer is the answer that's not listed there, which is maybe. Because like I said, I have made the mistake countless times where I felt so certain about what an answer was going to be, and I did not have the right view. Okay? No context. Maybe he's not disadvantaged. The attacker doesn't seem disadvantaged. No, what the claim is that this is an attacking stick block. So are you saying that the defender isn't disadvantaged? See, we got to use the right words, but we don't know. Whatever. Because you think the attacker has been disadvantaged because it's the defender who's committed a stick obstruction. That's not what the question was. Because Callum believes, as he put in the comments, and I was like, Callum, we got to talk. He believes that there's a stick block. And I am trying through him and through the whole community to educate on the dangers of coming to snap decisions when we don't have, as Scott says, proper context to make a judgment. Insufficient information. Exactly. Okay. Without the orthogonal view, we can't tell. Girl, are you using like polysyllabic words to impress me? Because it worked. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know what orthogonal means. I mean, I can guess, but I like to be right instead of just guessing. That's amazing. Okay. Check the poll. Stick block or not. One person says a stick obstruction by the attacker, a block, and 3 people said advantage, it's a stick obstruction by the defender. And nobody said shrug. Say shrug. Shrug. I'm going to say shrug. There, I voted shrug. That's the only correct one. Yes, and that's the thing. And I've talked about this on other live streams, and I'm going to keep repeating it because apparently repetition is good for all of us. Our brain will fill in gaps. We, as a species, we don't like not knowing stuff. That's why everybody comments, and that's why everybody wants to say yes or no. Because we don't like to be uncertain. We don't like that ambiguity. So we have to make some kind of declaration one way or the other. Oh, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. And it's not because we're egotistical assholes. It's because we are oriented to binary thinking, because that helps close loops. We don't like wonderment and all these things that can all stack up to clog our brains and make us think, I don't even know where I stand in this world anymore. If I don't know if there's a stick block there, that ruins my day. So we fill in the blanks in our minds as to what we've seen. And we assume things to make it easier for us to reach one of those binary decisions. And what I'm trying to help us with is being okay with being uncomfortable. Let's be okay with the maybe. Because luckily, that's not where we're ever going to have to make a decision on the pitch. We are never going to be lying down on the ground like, what's his name? Tim. That like Tim was. By the way, follow him on Instagram. He's got a fabulous feed. He's doing some really creative things with hockey, videography, and photography, as well as other things. He's very skilled. I'm very impressed by his portfolio. And, you know, we don't have to call the game from the angle that he was at when he filmed that shot. Thank goodness, because we'd be terrible. I've often joked that I can call an amazing game from the center of the pitch on a low deck chair with a drink in my hand. That's social hockey. But usually, you know, usually we can't. Thank you, Ingrid, for adding a shrug. I need more shrugs in my life. Orthogonal means a 90-degree angle as opposed to parallel. Thank you. There you go. Let's flip a blank coin. Well, it's been nice having you, Ingrid. I really appreciate you stopping by and being a part of the festivities. That is brilliant. Let's go on to our next topic. That's not our next topic. This is our next topic. Intentional obstruction or missed tackle.
Prone. Against Ludwig.
How's it going against the corner? Can they refer it?
Take your time.
So round the outside.
Round the outside. Round the outside.
She's standing still. We've gone to reverse.
Two trailer park
Crone's
girls.
throwing the ball into it.
Vonry? Yes. I've given a penalty corner for an intentional obstruction just inside the 23. Germany are saying there was no obstruction. If you could check.
I don't even know obstruction.
Well, hold on a second. Does it not go back to the long barrier that you were talking about last time, then?
I don't think that is a long barrier. I think he's put both hands on his stick on the floor. No, his back knee's not on the floor. I think it's a fundamentally different position. The other night I was talking about is a defender who's come out and crouched front on and just put one knee on the floor, almost a sitting position. That's looking at Krone going round the outside on the backhand.
There's no clear reason to change your decision. You can award the penalty corner and Germany lose their referral.
Thank you.
I can't help it. The round the outside just sets me off. I can't. And yes, Tom, this is only one of the many issues that we can discuss on this, because there's surprisingly a lot of layers that go into this. Yeah, do not like, by the way, do not like. So what we're looking at here is an initial decision made by an umpire in the moment at full speed, who is in a terrific position to see what is shaping up, where the play is going. And as we are watching it repetitively in slow motion, we might say things like, well, it appears that the defender has gotten into the space before the attacker gets there. And that's probably true, but it's like, it's a split second. By the time that we have slowed down things, it looks like it's a 1 second. Okay, and this is probably at, I'd say 0.25 times speed. So he got there 0.25 seconds, probably, before the player did. And he misses the tackle. So when a video umpire is going to look at this kind of situation review, what they should be considering, and this is applicable for us when we think about when we are coming together with our colleague, our controlling umpire colleague who's made a decision and they're like, you know what, I'm going to check with my buddy to see whether they have any information for me. Otherwise, I'm going to stop time. I'm going to come over and we're going to have a little chit chat. Consider that their judgment in the moment has a form of primacy. And you are going to want to assist if there's something that they didn't consider, they didn't see, or they're misinterpreting, misapplying the criterion. But if they have all the information they need and they've made that judgment, be very careful about inserting yourself over top. And that's exactly what video umpires are going to be thinking about when they're looking at a play like this, because this is part of, there is a subjectivity involved, but it is based on measurable factors that present themselves in a specific way to the umpires on the pitch. And only if the information that the video umpire gets is better than that, that they should insert their evaluation of all of those objective things to come up with what some people believe is a subjective decision. Okay. And Tom's saying, but yeah, you can't create a barrier in the path of a running attacker by semi-going to ground. I think one of the things that we're going to look at here is that the ball is not tackled legally. It is tackled by, it's stopped because it actually goes off the foot. So the actual referral is a little, interesting to parse out because they said there is no obstruction. And that doesn't mean that just because an obstruction, say an unintentional obstruction was found, that they would lose their referral. What they keep their referral for is whether they get a better result than what was awarded. But even if you don't determine this to be some kind of obstruction, it still goes off the player's foot. And so the tackle is not clean. The tackle is not legal. It goes off the foot and the player is then in the way. You could then argue after that, that if you believe that the defender got there first, that the attacker is then interfering with or obstructing the defender by going through them. But that happens after the foot. So no matter what, we have at least the free hit. And if the defender is not there earlier, then we have something more to deal with. And I think in this situation, when we are looking at over and over again in slow motion, it's going to look a little bit differently than it did in the moment. And for me, I think it was a good decision arrived at the end of the day. Let's see if you've had a chance to vote. I'm trying to go through things a little bit more quickly here because we're there. We've only got 5 votes and they're all over the place. 2 of you think it's a free hit defense. Did you see the foot? Did you see the foot? I hope you've seen the foot now. So it's okay. You can go back. You can change those votes. I'm just kidding. It's totally fine. This is an exercise. This is not an examination. It's purely for an exercise. And one person is going for a free hit attack that could either be for a foot or for an unintentional obstruction, or 4 of you are going with the penalty corner, and that is completely fine. Okay. Good stuff. Topic 5. A stick obstruction along the back line. I don't do accents.
Charges on now. Felgenkamp leaves it for the Heist. The Heist having a look around. Where's he going to go? He goes to Middendorp down this left-hand side. Middendorp goes past Van Dessel. Middendorp in the circle. When you say he's got the ball.
Blown a penalty corner for a deliberate tackle. They're saying that is stick obstruction.
Okay, I mean, what BELvNED said was he was stationary and his stick is flat. Therefore, he can't cause the contact. To me, it's just a tackle, but is the... Yeah. If we can get one kind of crowd side, so behind the goal, you can see where the stick head, blue stick head in the back of that picture, that to me is a stick tackle, and therefore it should be BELvNED's ball.
Aidan?
Yes, Rachel?
I have advice for you. There is a stick obstruction, and you can restart with a free hit defense, and they keep their referral.
Tackle, I'll come back to your comment later so that I can not squirrel on this particular play. And I wanted to bring this out because it's a nice example of attacking obstruction along the back line, which can be difficult for us to determine. But let's tease out what we're looking at and what the principles are as we're going through this particular play. And what you want to consider is the relative tackling position of this defender here and where they're coming into the ball as the attacker is moving in this direction. So there is a perpendicularity to it. If the defender is coming from slightly behind, there is no obligation for the attacker to present the ball in a better position than what it exists in. But I think what we see in this moment, and let's see if I can tease this out carefully. Okay. At this time, we have defender ahead of attacker, right? And he's giving the baseline, the back line. He's making sure that that is the option that he wants the attacker to think is on, because he's specifically going to tackle in this place. And as the defender comes to make their tackle, the foot, that's a good spot there. It's the foot here that actually is the obstructive element that pushes the defender's tackling stick out of the way. So there's not a right or a wrong side to tackle from, not to a tackle. What is an attackle? A tackle. He's come in a good tackling position vis-a-vis where the ball is progressing. Okay. And it is the movement of the player's body into the defender's space that blocks him from making that tackle, that makes this for me, it makes it a body shield. You can also argue that there is a stick obstruction afterwards, and it doesn't matter. Either way, it's kind of a combination of both. But for the demonstration, for what I can show you on video, it's very clear here. So it's about the defender being there in time, being ahead of, oh good, it was actually showing. And then this foot pushing off the stick and making it hard for the tackle, that makes that an attacking obstruction. And Scott, you're just throwing me grapefruits. You're just pitching them out there. And please remind us, is it best to look at the attacker's stick to decide who stick obstructs? No. It's best to look at the defender's stick. So that's why I approached breaking this down as, where's the defender coming from? They're in a good tackling position, they're ahead. And then they reach their stick out, and they're not wildly swinging. It's not coming halfway up, off the ground and striking the attacker's stick from up there. It's just a nice, it's a lunging block, but it's a block tackle. And yet he's not able to reach the ball because there's a foot coming in his way later, the full body and the stick also blocking him from making that tackle. And that's why it's attacking obstruction. So that is what we're looking for. And of course he falls down because he's run into and interfered with the stick of that defender. Okay, does that help? No descriptions in this question. I don't know what I did wrong. I'll find out now because I'm going to go to the poll. Huh. One of the above. You could have written in free hit defense. You could have, just to help a girl out. God. Just leaving me out there. Just leaving me out there. Okay, Anik, can I explain the difference between stick shielding and stick obstruction like you're 4 years old? Stick shield, that language that we use, that slang term we use in the English language, is simply an attacking stick obstruction. So it's like a subcategory. So a stick obstruction is here at the top, and there's attacking, stick shielding, or stick blocking, it could be called. And then on the other branch, when the defenders do it, we call it a stick tackle, or also just a stick obstruction. And what I liked about the way that Rachel presented that decision from the video umpire booth is she said it was simply a stick obstruction. So she's neutralizing the slang terms in the language that can sometimes get us a little confused and take us away from truly understanding what's happening. Because at the essence of it, the stick is obstructing somebody from doing hockey things. I hope that helps. And I know it's not easy when we're throwing in language differences and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for that question. That really helps. And Scott, yeah, we did discuss it last week, and you couldn't remember if it was attacker or the defender's stick. Yeah. And just every tackle, shift your focus to the defender. Attackers move too fast. The ball moves even faster. Don't. It's so much easier to watch the defender because they are going to move more slowly, and to detect whether they have committed a foul first, it's easier to see what they are doing right or wrong. And if they're doing everything right and they still can't get to the ball, then you're like, oh, well, it's not their fault, is it? It's got to be the attacker's fault. That's where it comes into play. All right. We are almost through the material.
Great Britain free hit, and it comes from Sanford and touched in by Shipley on the far post.
I've been awarded a goal. Belgium, number 23, says that he was pushed off the ball in the top of the D. If you can please look for that.
I will look for a physical push on top of the D from GB on the Belgium defender.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a look at the Slovak. Well, he's not pushed, he's trying to get round Park.
Yeah, I think
Morton holds his ground.
I think he's just standing still, isn't he? What's his foot position? So as he stepped in there, he's jumped out the way. Is that a legitimate physical barrier? He is allowed to stand still. So the interpretation we're looking for is his movement...
It's not a push. The thing was, he said he's pushed.
Understood.
Yes, sorry.
So is he doing something illegal to create the block, or hasn't he moved? He's just jumped out the way of the ball. That's the question of how that is interpreted by Sophie Bockelman.
Henry, I have some advice for you. There was a physical push and an obstruction caused by the GB player. You can therefore restart with a free hit out, and they keep their referral.
So this kind of follows with a clip that I showed last week about pushing. Was it last week or the week before? I don't know. Now I have something more that I have to look up and link to in the description to follow up on this so that you can tie these two things together. But we're starting to really have a problem with using this word push. Excuse me. Last time, it was because when you think of the word push, and when we use that in English particularly, there's an intentional action that a player is doing that isn't part of playing the ball. They are acting on their opposing number instead of acting towards the ball. And it's an exertion of force. Therefore, it must be intentional. Therefore, you can't have an accidental push in the circle. It has to be a penalty stroke every time, sort of thing, which sort of logically makes sense, which is why we have to be careful about when we use the word push. And I can understand the players, use certain vocabulary, but there is no rule against pushing in the rule book. We have obstruction, we have interference. So the explanation that was given by the video umpire ties back to obstruction. She used that word. in particular. And so when you consider what obstruction is, we have to again focus on the defender in this case and where the defender is located at where they are vis-a-vis the player that they're marking as this ball is being fed in. And they do not get removed from a superior intercepting position because they are physically moved from that spot. The two players, the defender is actually behind the attacker in this moment, and the attacker does not have to move out of the way in order to allow the defender access to that ball. It's not a third-party obstruction is actively moving into the defender's path to stop them from accessing the ball. And that's what this would be really, is a third-party obstruction or an interference. And I'm starting to really start obsessing about I think it's 9.3, the rule against interference, because we don't talk about it very often. And why is it still in the rule book if we don't call it, but we're seeing obstruction all the time? Is it just a form of obstruction? Esoteric, I know. So for me, I don't see anything for third-party obstruction here because the defender has made the choice that they are going to goal side mark and they are on the wrong side of the ball. So they are goal side, but they're not ball side, which means that even though there is a contest, it's not a contest that the defender here is entitled to win. This is not a hockey play where you say that is an unfair third-party blocking obstructive force. And I think we are doing ourselves a disservice by using this word push too often. It's getting confusing because there are two players in contact and exerting force on each other, but not in a way that is unfair. There is no, this is entirely fair for the attacker to hold their space where they are. And the defender is trying to exert their force on the attacking player and loses the battle, basically. That's how I saw that one. Scott, while there's physical contact, did it actually have an impact on the play? The interference appears to be after the ball. Maybe. It's hard to say. I think that the attackers got that ball side positioning. And that's the real problem here, is that the defender just isn't on if the defender was on the other side of the ball and was trying to get to it that way, totally different story. And that's where the hockey stuff really comes in and understanding what the players are trying to do in this case. That reminds me, Tom, I have to get back to your stuff. There's definitely contact, but the defender was initially behind. Yeah. There you go. And yeah, advantage all the way. Okay. Let's see if anybody had a chance to vote before I go back to Tom's comment to wrap things up. And yeah, 9 of you are saying a goal and 1 of you with a free hit defense. Super fine. I successfully voted. It says so right there in Discord. Isn't that nice? And Viv, what do you say? The defender initiates the contact and goes to ground after the ball has gone through. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That is legitimate. Okay, and let's see. Tom, so we were, which one was this? Aerial is over, or was this, I think this was the Argentinian one. Let's see if I can get back to the right scene. Just to put context, because if I start talking about it, we're all going to be lost. Is it this? Right. So Tom was asking, tell me if I'm on the wrong clip, Tom. I think this is the one that you wanted to know. How is the difference between the high balls defined? For the Dutch rule book, it's defined as high balls, not aerials, so a deflected ball from a goalie could warrant for 5 meters. There is not even an English definition of what an aerial is as opposed to a deflected ball. But we understand this as a common understanding. So if you in the Netherlands apply that because of a way that it's worded in Dutch that means it's the same thing, it's wrong. And I'm just going to flat out say it, because it's not meant to do that. That is not the spirit of the rule. It is all about danger on the deflection. So I understand that everybody's looking for a very clear, defined term between aerial and deflected ball and accidentally raised ball and things like that in the rule book. And I'm telling you right now that it's a flaw in the rule book that it doesn't exist, but we all understand hockey. We understand that the reason that the aerial rules developed was so that that skill could develop in our game. And it took us 20 years of a lot of training, more than 20 years of training and practice and evolution of how the rule got relaxed and relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. But if we hadn't protected 5 meters of receiving space on those early days, we never would be here where we are now. And as Kevin pointed out earlier, along with being able to play the ball with the stick above our shoulders, we would never be at this point. So the intention was not to give every player 5 meters of space when a ball deflects upwards. That is not the intention of the rule. So don't do it. Okay. And then Taco, you had one too. And this was on, I think it was on 3. A Stream Deck is so messed up. Was it this one? No. It was 4. So your question, Taco. Why am I saying a lot today? Ugh. It seems that the attacker turns into the direction of the goal instead of continuing on the sideline. Does that make a difference? Would we penalize an attacker for trying to run towards the goal? Are they not allowed to do that? Do they have to run along the sideline? That doesn't seem like something that we're gonna worry about. It's if a player turns away and starts running in the opposite direction of the goal. They're like, oh, you're not disadvantaged. So yeah, I don't think that that does come into play for us. But there you go. And where are we at? Yes, so I found it, the long blockage. There you go. This clip works for the question, but for keeping the 5. Yes. I think I did I answer all that? Did I cover that off fully, thoroughly? I even injected some feeling into it, so I hope I really got it across. There you go. Okay. Pro League is over. Ding dong. Ding dong. Junior Pan-Am Cup started today. There's been about 2 matches so far. Oh, more questions from Tom. Okay. We'll just put a pin on Junior Pan-Am Cup. We define the danger created by an encroaching player when the ball is in the air above the knee. Why? That, I'm sorry, but why? That is not in the FIH rulebook. That's not in the FIH briefing. That's not international interpretations. How am I supposed to answer this? This is dumb. No. Okay, great. Junior Pan Am Cup started today in Vancouver, in specifically Surrey, at Toronto's Park. And I think we are 2 or 3 matches in so far. I have not checked if I'm able to have a look at things. And if I do, and if there are matches that we're able to watch, I will schedule some watch parties, probably replays, because not many of you are going to be awake when some of the more interesting matches are being played late tonight. Late tonight, my time, and like early morning for European folk. All the Aussies, like, come on, like, let's have some live watch parties, and everybody in Canada and the US, let's do it there. But otherwise, I'm going to do some some replay. Oh, Hadrian, you missed it. You missed it. I'm glad you're here. Hang on. Let me do a thing. And oops. That went the wrong way. I'm pressing the wrong buttons, you can tell. You can tell. I was gonna, whoa, there it is. Hadrian, thanks for joining in, even though you're late. So what you want to do right now is that this is going to end in a little bit, and then you can watch the replay and you can watch it on 2x speed. I'm a lot smarter on 2x speed. Hot tip for you there. Yeah. So that's happening, but it's going to be a little bit quieter until that goes on for a week and a half. And then we've got a few days off, and then under 21 Europeans. And there's all the divisions going. So TJ, yay. I know. Don't worry, Hadrian, but I got to say hi to you. So it was not a wasted effort. And thank you. I appreciate that you watched the replay. That it does mean a lot to me. And then we have the Olympics. So friends, if you aren't yet part of the third team, I'm going to recommend that you have a look at doing this very soon. Whether you're green or yellow, that's going to put you in a very special category of people. And I don't want to be all like elitist about it, but you are going to be better than everybody else. So when you're a member of green or yellow, you will be part of a group of people who have access to watch matches with us on the Discord, where I work through it with live commentary, describing how the match is going from a holistic point of view. It's a really important perspective to add to this very micro slicing and dicing, removing from the match context stuff that I do here on the live stream. So I really want to encourage you to consider doing that. Also, let's face it, if you join green, it gives you a way to help support me being able to do this every week for everybody on YouTube who maybe don't have the means to join the third team. So give it a thought. There's a typo in the link. Yes, and the occasional rant. There's a typo in the link. Why? That should work. Is it because I didn't do the HTTP? I think something like that. Does the QR code work? Do I have to end this stream on a failure? Can somebody explain to me? Suraj, thank you for joining in. Hey, let's do this one.
How you like that?
That's for you. Thank you for coming. It was nice to see you. And will I be in Paris live? I will not. I will not. I truly believe at an event like that, it's not, I can serve you as a community better by not being there. When I'm there, I can't focus and do the same sort of analysis and dissection. And I have something very special. I'm not going to talk about it yet. It's coming up, but in the next couple of weeks, I'll announce it because I'll probably have less to talk about plans of what I'm going to be doing in Paris. And I really would struggle to do it if I were there live. So that is the thing. And Samantha, yes, it's both. It's both green and yellow. Yellow adds a level of mentorship where you not only do you get all the courses for free, but you also have the opportunity to do debriefs with me, where you provide me with your match video, and all the other yellow and green folks can come piling in, and they can all come watch too. And they're cheering, like they're not critical. And we work through your match the way that I work through the matches in a watch party, in a sense, but with somebody who actually might do what I recommend. That sounds really bad, but it's fabulous. I'm really excited about being able to work with people like that, and that's what we do. Okay, type on the link. Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, umpires. That's what happened. That's what happened. But if you just type in this as well, this will get you there. FIHU3T.com. FIHU3T.com will help. How do I misspell umpires? Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. The I and the P are transposed. Thank you. And is that in the link in the text, or is that the link in the? It's the link in the text, isn't it? Very exciting. Okay. What else have I missed? Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I enjoy these things as much as the preparation sometimes gets me all flustered, and I get nervous and anxious, and I'm uncomfortable, but I make myself uncomfortable every week. And I've had a lot of practice at it. This was episode 161 of making myself uncomfortable, because I know this is a way in which I can be of the best service for you as umpires out there looking for help, guidance, greater understanding so that you can perform better on the pitch. So it's a real privilege. When I look at it that way, I'm like, yeah, this is dope. It's a dope way to be uncomfortable. You're welcome, Urian. Yeah, the QR code works. Yay. Okay. And yes, we're going to head to the tees in the local. How can you get access to the videos you played here? You can watch it on replay, but you can't access the videos unless you are a member of the third team, and you can't use them for your own purposes either. So you need to come into the Discord server and ask me maybe more of what the context is, what you're looking to do with them. Okay. And then we'll do that. And thank you very much. That was an obstruction. Everybody's obstructing me. There you go. And yeah, thank you, because Viv is one of our new green members. So I figured that. Thank you. Thank you, Ingrid. That is really sweet. And before I get verklempt and emotional, I'm going to go, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much, third team.